Hey everybody, it's Safi and Marco Dish Out on Movies, the only movie review show on YouTube to review movies in terms of food. It's just Marco here once again, and I am here today to do a very fun video. Well, fun for me, but I don't know if it's fun for other people. I don't know. It was a video that I really thought would be a good analytical video into the different psychic meetings that I've had, and to analyze, to try to figure out like which one was real, which one was fraudulent, which one was maybe half and half, because I really think that this whole psychic business is tricky to look at, because you have a lot of people who pretend like they are real and they're not. They have no psychic ability whatsoever. And then you have a lot of other people who they're kind of half and half, and they kind of overcompensate for the lacking messages that they get. And so, they kind of have to play along, but then other stuff they'll figure out somehow. And then there's other people who are actually gifted, and it's hard for me, as somebody who is so analytical, it's hard for me to really see for myself which one is authentic. And so this is like a topic video. It's like an open-ended discussion topic video that really it could have a ton of different answers, and I'm not really going to say for sure in this video what I think is the correct answer. So for starters, I had a very interesting meeting in 2020, April or May or June, and it was actually a tarot card reading from this woman from the Golden Dawn. And she was this woman from Singapore, and I met her somehow. It might have been in a psychic group on Facebook. And she literally just offered to give me like a tarot card reading for free. And she didn't charge anything, and she was totally cool about it. And I was really happy to get some sort of comforting message at that point, because that was when I was still like really, really damaged from doing the workout injury, and I was having a ton of problems with paranoia and fear, and I think that it had to do with like a subconscious like awakening of past life experiences. And I think that it was all like subconscious, this fear that it just manifested itself. And it was really a terrible, it was like months and months and months of being like afraid of everything, and it all triggered at a certain point where it had to do with the injury and everything. And so this tarot card reading, it really was helpful, but at the same time, like, now that it's years later and I don't have that same sort of fear at the moment, I can kind of look back and see, like, maybe it wasn't as accurate as I thought it was, or maybe it was half and half. So she said some interesting things, actually, because believe it or not, at the time, I really wanted to move out in general with everyone, and just, get a new place that was better, or somewhere else, because the area that we were in, it started to creep me out, like the things that would go on at nighttime. And then, we lived on this corner, and so people would always slow down next to our house. And so that would really freak me out. Or I would be mowing the lawn, and then all of a sudden somebody would slow and stop, and I would be like, ugh. And that's the type of thing that really freaked me out back then. And it got worse and worse and worse in terms of the level of fear, and to the point of where I would just spend all day worrying about the fear. And so I really wanted to move in 2020. And I wanted to. I really, really wanted to. And I thought of a few different ways and a few different approaches to go about things. And this tarot card reader, she said that it would be a good idea to move, but it would be fine if I stayed as well in that area. But she said I was right to be afraid. And that, to me, I don't think it was actually physical violence to be afraid of. I think that it was spiritual. It was the fact that the house had all of the haunting and the negative energies and the, just all of that bad energy. I mean, it's so much different now where I am. It's really changed my mindset on things after being at the new place for a little while. So that was one thing that I thought was interesting, because back then I thought, oh no, my fears are actually real? Like, oh no, like, oh, I thought of a couple of different things. So anyways, and I'm going to take a little drink of water. Another thing that she said was that I had an alcoholic inside of me, and that I should be careful with alcohol consumption, which I thought was very interesting, because I probably say that would be true, because of other people having experiences with that in the family, in terms of overindulgence. So that was another thing that was spot on. Another thing that she said that females were very influential in my life, and she said that there was a couple, or maybe one in particular, who was just very, very influential, and she almost like just completely guarded me, my aura, and she just kept on coming up over and over and over again. And obviously you could speculate that it's Safi, but in general, the reality was that it was probably who, and it was probably her trying to communicate through that, because ever since I got that piece of brick, there were so many different ways I felt that she was trying to communicate with me. There were so many different synchronicities and things that would come up, and just weird coincidences that, did not make sense at all. They were so highly unlikely. Things really just pointed to her wanting to reach out to me, in my opinion. Like, it really feels that way now that I look back. Like, I would meet all these witches. I go on dating apps. I meet all these witchy poos and people and shit. And then I go there and I'd see, like, some more people who had quote-unquote psychic gifts. And it felt like she was purposefully leading me to these places over and over and over again to try to find somebody to reach out and tell me what she wanted to tell me, because I am blocked. I'm still kind of blocked. Like, I heard this thing about, mediums and psychics, they can hear voices, and I can't hear any voices at all, basically. I mean, I could kind of hear like a couple of voices sometimes, but it really just feels to me like it could just be me making it up, in the imagination, like just imagining what I would want her to say or somebody else to say, because I do that all the time with, making movies and figuring things out with that. So, I don't want to close off any possibilities, because I want to search for the truth and not, just block myself in a room, like this, like certain psychics try to do. So, anyways, another thing that the tarot card reader said was that she said that I would be very successful as long as I focused and everything. And, I think that when you do these psychic meetings, these readings, actually, that's what they call them, I think that you should go in wanting to know about everything. Just cover a wide spectrum of things. I think that the biggest problem that I have given myself with all three of these psychic meetings is that with each one of them, I have my own agenda. With the first one, it was all about the tarot card reading. It was all about the fact that I was scared shitless and I had this unreasonable paranoia from seeing cars slow down and things like that. And it all had to do with spiritual stuff. The second psychic meeting, it was all about saving the house, combined with Sharon a little bit. So I have my own agenda with that. And then the most recent one, I had the agenda of just finding out definitively WTF, WTF is the connection to Sharon, because I can say what I felt, and I can say what the messages that were sent to me personally, but I wanted to have those confirmed by a professional so that I didn't sound like somebody who was spouting off nonsense, which will probably sound like that anyways. So I think that that's an issue. When you do these things, you should be open-minded to everything, and you should want to get information about everything so that you can apply it throughout the upcoming months and the year ahead of you. It shouldn't just be about one thing in particular, because it'll close you off to everything else. So anyways, I'm going to take another drink, because I'm going really fast with this video. The next one, you guys are kind of going to laugh at me for the next one, because the next one, I'm not going to say any names, because I don't want to make anyone upset and triggered and cry. The next one was this, she seemed like she was nice, I guess. She was she kind of had a little bit of an attitude, like she kind of, I don't know, like, I don't know how to describe it, kind of, I could kind of imitate her, I guess, but I don't want to, because I'll start to irritate myself. It would be like if I started doing a Karen impression a little bit. So when I was searching on the casting website, I would also try to contact people who were just close to me in general, because I thought, even if they don't seem like they would fit any of these characters, maybe I could just use them regardless and sort of recreate the character to fit them if I'm really desperate. I found this girl. She had blue hair, which was a big red flag for sure. But I didn't, well, actually, I'm not sure if it's blue hair for real or just a wig. So that would be something to contemplate, like wigs versus real blue hair. Like, I would say, like, if she actually dyes her hair, that is a much bigger red flag than if she wears a wig that is blue. So that would be another debate to have, actually. So I found her, and at first I was going to cast her. She did the typical thing where she did not respond back, though. I think I sent her my script. I can't remember. Or I think maybe I just talked to her about the film. So then what happened was a couple of months went by, and I saw on her profile that she had this website with psychic readings and stuff. And the website... the website came off to me like, it was pretty cool. Like, I would have loved to have found someone like that who had, like, all these different little options of, like, oh, you can do this type of reading, so that I could just explore and, find out information, because I love learning new things. I love having knowledge. I love truth and knowledge, and I think that knowledge is very important in life. And I thought that I got really excited for this. And it only cost like $40, I think, for a reading. 40 for the paranormal help. That's another thing. She called it paranormal help. Not just paranormal reading, paranormal help. So there's something to say about that too, is that they say that if psychics say that they're giving you help, they're trying to help you out of a problem, they're saying that that is like a form of manipulation with psychics, and that it's a sign that they're fake. They want to fearmonger you. I'm not sure about that with this one. I'm not going to say definitively yes or no. What I did, though, is that I thought I was going to kind of, I don't know, maybe like trick her into giving me a reading for free. And so I messaged her privately, and I talked to her about my haunted house and owning the brick and all this crap. And automatically she just gave me like a general message of like, it's not good to buy pieces of houses from places where people were murdered or anything like that. And I thought, yeah, I know, I should have figured that out a year ago. But it was meant to happen. You know, I mean, at this point, I can't really get mad about it anymore or throw a tantrum anymore. You know, I mean, that's long over. So then she said that she was going to help me, but I needed to wait for her to be ready because she had this brother, and the brother was having problems, and she was going to notify me whether or not she was ready. And you know, I get that, because if you're a psychic, you know, it's very draining to do that type of stuff. I mean, you think about just imagining things and coming up with scenes and things. For me, it does drain your energy. It's actual work, this energy that you're putting out there, and it's energy draining. Even to do this video, you know, I am putting out energy. You know, that is a form of energy, this video. So she said she'd let me know. Well, a month later, 2 months later, ... you know, nothing. No message at all, no notification, nothing. And I thought, you know what's really weird is that she's doing all these readings for free on YouTube on her channel. She's doing all these free readings where it's like, oh no, you have a monster in your house. It's a scary monster. It kind of looks like a spider and shit. And, you know, she does these little readings on YouTube. She'll do like fucking 10 at a time. She'll read every single person in the entire chat room. And she'll read them for free. And I thought, you know, if it wasn't for this whole thing where she told me that she would message me, I would be impressed. I would be like, you know what? Hats off to you. You're not just sponging money from people. But no, she I couldn't believe it. You know, like, I thought, like, you know, I could just get a reading right here or something. It wouldn't be very good because it'd only be like 2 seconds of me getting a reading. But I could get something right there. And in fact, I would like to make up a fake profile, go on there, get a reading, and see if she can tell it's me. Because that would be an easy way to see if she is a fraud or a fake. I wouldn't do that with the third one because she cost a lot of money. I mean, when you guys hear how much I paid for her to give me that shitty ass fucking reading I got in January, you guys are going to freak out. Go like, Marco, let me tell you something about hookers, you know. Like, you know, honestly, like a hooker or some shit would have been like a much better investment in money than that psychic reading that I got in January. But I thought it was cool. I thought it was, you know, it was going to be a magical experience. You know, I didn't know that she was a nut job when I got that reading, but we'll talk about that part. And I hope this video is good too, because I I'm taking a chance when I do these topic type of videos. You know, I'm not reviewing anything. Well, I'm kind of reviewing these psychics and their shitty ass fucking business practices. So eventually I was getting pissed off because I was like, you know, it's in the middle of September. I'm trying to wait patiently, even though I know that I'm losing my house on October 31st. And I'm like, I need to get her attention, you know. And she has the readings purchasable on her website. So why would I just have to wait all this time, whereas, you know, anyone could just get a reading? They could have a worse situation than I did. So I thought that all that was kind of fishy. It smelled like fish. So I purchased a reading, and I just purchased it. I was like, you know, I'm not putting up with this. You know, I'm getting my reading right now. So I got my reading on the last day of September, and I had a really fun time with it, honestly. I really, really enjoyed. What I did was I had the psychic reading, and then I had some delicious Chinese stir fry, and watched a John Carpenter movie, and you know, that was like, what a great experience that was. Very fun. So at the time, you know, I was really psyched about this reading. In the reading, and you guys have already, I'm not going to, you know, go through the contents of the reading bit by bit. You know, I did videos on those, so you could go check those out to reference for this video. I'm just going to kind of analyze it from an anal fuck, a different perspective, okay? So in the second reading, you know, looking back, I do notice that she used a lot of buzzwords, okay? She used a lot of new agey buzzwords to kind of like add some magic and pizzazz to her reading. So she said like, you know, words like spirit guide, which, you know, I do believe in spiritual guidance, because, you know, that's what Sharon's giving me right now, as we speak, you know, just constantly, forever. I don't know if I believe in a spirit guide necessarily, because it's like, you know, where's the spirit guide at when you get kidnapped and raped or murdered or something like that, you know? Like, if all people had spirit guides, then there should be a lot less murder and mayhem in the world, in my opinion. So anyway, she said spirit guide. She said another thing which I really have a hard time believing, and it's one of the few things that I agreed about with the third psychic, and that was soul contract, which is probably one of the most retarded things that I've ever heard in the New Age community. And it's basically the theory that when you're a soul and you're not a person yet, you go into a little room and you do a contract with, like, okay, I am going to live these specific amount of lives and do these specific things, and ooh, in this life I'm going to be a murder victim. Ooh, you know, no, that's fucking retarded. I would never ever do that ever. I would never ever sign a soul contract that said anything like that, even if it meant, I don't know, like fucking having sex with Audrey Hepburn. Like, I'm serious. Like, I would never ever sign a soul contract. There are so many people in the world who would never ever sign one either. I just have a really hard time believing that something like that would exist. And there was another buzzword that I would really, and this guy who looks like Jeffrey Dahmer's father just pulled up next to me, so I'm in the Kroger parking lot, so if this video suddenly, oh, he's leaving, never mind. I was like, that guy looks exactly like Lionel fucking Dahmer, and it's Ohio too, so it'd be like, oh shit. That'd be pretty scary. I mean, just imagine the scariness of doing a video, and then all of a sudden the father of Jeffrey Dahmer pulls up on you and he's like, "Hey, buddy! How's it going today? I saw your review of Dahmer. It wasn't very nice." I'm trying to... If the third buzzword comes back to me, I will... karmic lesson. That was another buzzword, because she said this whole thing about the ordeal with the house and the brick and pulling the abdominal muscle. It was a karmic lesson, which I thought was like, I don't know what, I guess maybe that's what it could be. You know, the stuff that she said, it a lot of it gelled, a lot of it seemed to connect and to, work together as a whole. But the problem that I had with it was one thing in particular, and that was Sharon. Because she would say like a lot of like specific but vague things in terms of the spiritual stuff. Like she said that my land was and this is how she said it. She said it's a burial ground. She didn't say burial. She said you're living on a burial ground, so it's pretty bad. And keep in mind, I have all these psychic meetings, except for the third one. I have it all. She sent me voice messages, so technically I could literally just clip them all together and play them for you. I love it. She's like, you're living on a burial ground. And she talked about how there's tons of spirits. Okay, I'm going to have to come back for part 2. So, pretty soon. To piggyback on what I was saying with the second quote-unquote psychic medium. And so, I should also just go ahead and say, like, she said she was communicating specifically with her spirit guide, and she was checking the energy around me and my energy in general. So those were the two ways of communicating that she was using. And I saw that we should pay attention to see if they use like fear-mongering tactics to be like, ooh, maybe you'll have to get another reading, or ooh, maybe you'll have to buy this from me. Well, she doesn't have anything else available to buy, like any sort of like crystals or something like that, but she did recommend me to purchase stuff off of her website and on someone else's. So, and the someone else is someone who she uses too. She purchases these types of products, and she was recommending me to just, do the same thing she does. So it wasn't like a direct promotion to her or anything, and she is not an affiliate with that company. Another thing about the fear-mongering is, well, you could say, like, by telling me that the house was haunted, and by telling me that, there were all these bad things inside the house, that, that was fear-mongering. But the fear-mongering would have to lead to buy something from me. That is the whole point of fear-mongering as a psychic, is that you fear-monger, and then that creates the need in the client for them to be scared and to purchase another reading, perhaps. Well, she did not really care about me purchasing any readings. The only things that she cared about me doing, number one, she wanted me to join this Discord group where it costs $1 a month, or no, it might have been Patreon, and she wanted me to join it because it had all these people like me who had dealt with these paranormal experiences. So I felt like that was another, like, not really selfish thing where it was like, oh, I want you to get a membership to the site because it's, you can get more of me. It was about me getting more of other people who have dealt with stuff like this before. Number two, she wanted me to Sorry, I got lost for a second. I just lost the train. You know, I can't remember what I was gonna say. I was thinking too much about the Patreon. Oh, she wanted me to leave a review on her website, and so she was like, if you could please leave a review. And so then I went and I left her a generous 5-star review because I did like the reading. I felt like obviously all the information wasn't going to be 100% accurate, but I'm still questioning like how much of it even was accurate. And that's when it came to the, I guess what you call the hangover period of the psychic reading, where I started to realize, like, wait a second, there are a couple of things that aren't lining up here. For starters, I should first start off by saying that I did a second reading a week later, and the second reading was supposed to be a automatic drawing of any spirit who is around me, and that one cost $50. I think she decided it was going to cost $50 because on her website there was this weird thing that happened where it said that it cost $75 for a sketch, and then it said it cost $100 for an actual painting. So what happened though was that I somehow did not even pay for the second reading. Her website let me skate by without even paying her anything. So I got that reading for free at the time, and it was only this month, yesterday actually, when she sent me an invoice that said $50, please. And the $50, I think that she custom did that price. So she did that, I guess, to be nice, I don't know. And I paid the invoice. So that was weird. That was another weird thing. I thought that the card that I was using had saved into the site, so maybe it just automatically did it, but I guess it didn't do anything. So there were some huge inconsistencies though, because we started to talk about like updates and things, and in the first reading she told me to research the house's history, and she told me to try to find these things out about like the other people who lived there, and she was really wanting me to do that. And then all of a sudden in the second reading, when I was asking her more questions about the house, she made this whole thing up where it's like, no, actually, you don't want to learn more about the haunted house, because the more that you learn, the more that you become obsessed, and they want you to become obsessed because it gives them energy or something. And so, like, I was like, what? So, that was kind of odd, because she was the one who even told me to begin with to request information. It did confirm the fact that she was saying that I was being blocked, though, because I was trying to look up specific information, and I'm not kidding when I say that I started having internet difficulties, and it wasn't like normal internet difficulties. It was only like on a specific website where I would get the information. So it was really a lot like I was being blocked by something from finding that out. So that was odd, for sure. And then another inconsistency that I found was that in the first reading, I had already let her know that I was going to get an automatic drawing from her, and she was like, oh, well, that Civil War woman upstairs, I will go ahead and do her. I'll start to get to work on that drawing then, because I know you're going to purchase it. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, actually, could you wait and maybe do another drawing on the day? And she agreed to do that, but she was really enthusiastic about drawing this ghost. And that was another thing too, to lean in favor of her credibility, because without any former knowledge at all, she was able to come up with that there was this specific female ghost upstairs, and that she had this Civil War dress on, and it was before she even knew that the house was on or was from that era or anything else. So, that makes it seem like she might be accurate. But then in the second time, all of a sudden she was like, well, actually, it would not be good to draw that ghost because it'll bring her energy to you and it will hurt you and all this stuff. And so she said that if she did do the drawing, that she should just throw it away and delete it or something. And I was like, what? Like, really? Like, I was... Another weird thing that happened in between them, though, that would lean in favor of her credibility, is that we had matching dreams. We both had these dreams where there was this guy and a dog, and he had a rifle, and he was trying to get into our places of living, and we had to fight him off. And with her, she fought him off with her sword, and with me, I fought him off. And the way that she proved this is because without any former knowledge, she had already done a TikTok days ago talking about this dream. And she was talking about it was her astral training to become a light warrior. And that's another thing. She seemed to have this kind of agenda with me becoming a quote-unquote light warrior. And so that would be the other buzzword, the new age buzzword that she was using. So that leans in favor of her. And then another thing that would lean in favor of her is that after the session was over, she was cleansing her space and she went to the bathroom, and in her bathroom mirror she saw a really creepy, ugly ass demon monster thing, and it was the exact one that she thinks it came from me, and that it was in my bathroom mirror. And then I was like, what does this thing look like? And then she described it, and I showed her a picture that I hadn't posted of the vampire from the second film, I've Been Bitten, that I was trying to work on. And she said that's exactly what it looked like. So that led me to thinking that, maybe that thing actually manifested somehow, or something else manifested that thing's appearance to use. I don't know. Like, it's really... And, I've already talked before about all the weird things with the bathroom at that other house. So that was another interesting thing that she brought up. She started, though, she was almost like kind of forcing the issue on me of, if she's going to do this automatic drawing, it has to be of the spirit guide, because we also had this discussion about a spirit guide, and it was another thing where I gave all this information, and then she said, oh yeah, that's what I saw too. She really wanted to draw that, and I think it was a lot easier for her to draw, because it was so much more simpler and stuff, and so I think that she was trying to force the issue just to make it easier, and that would be another kind of red flag, and then she just kept on skirting issues too. I would ask her about Sharon 1,000 times, and this is where it got really bizarre. She said that the only things that she saw from the fireplace, in terms of that brick that I bought that was cursed, she said that the only thing that was associated with it was a purple goo that formed into people and things. And I thought, what? Like, like I thought that was the stupidest shit that I've ever heard. Like, there's a purple pixel goo, and that's the only energy that's inside that thing or something. I'm like, okay. Last week you said there were shadow figures. Now you're saying it's purple goo that turns into shadow figures. Like, and it just felt like she was withholding stuff. Like, and by withholding, I mean, maybe she's full of shit. And so she doesn't have any answers. And I think that she was getting a little frustrated with the fact that I was pushing issues and trying to find out answers to these questions when she couldn't provide any answers for whatever reason. So that was another red flag. Eventually, I was frustrated with the second psychic meeting. So I just had her draw the spirit guide and whatever. Whatever. So that was a little disappointing, I gotta say. Like, but she did admit that there was a connection to Sharon and me, but she wouldn't tell me. So I didn't know why she was doing that, because then at the end I told her, regardless, that I wanted to purchase another psychic meeting from her on my birthday. And then that one would be all about, like, finding out more about past lives, because I thought that would be interesting. So she knew that, and I went to her website, and the thing, I believe it was called spiritual reading. She had two things. She had spiritual help and spiritual reading. And the help option was to help you, quote unquote, become a light warrior and train your psychic ability. And then the spiritual reading was all about finding out more about your past lives and stuff like that. Well, that option was removed from the website, and it was only removed after I had told her that I wanted to get that reading from her. So that was odd, to say the least. I just can't pretend like nothing that she said was accurate, because a lot of the stuff she said lined up with reality, in my opinion. Finally, the last sort of straw that led me to think, like, this person is bad news. The last straw was this one day when I thought, maybe I will try to get another question answered via her YouTube live streams. And keep in mind, there's only like 10 people on this live stream, if even that. There's hardly anyone on these live streams getting these free readings. So I go on there and I pick a number, because everyone is supposed to pick a number, and then if she rolls the dice and it lands on you, you get to get the reading. Well, I picked a number, and she saw me in the chat. She ignored me in the chat, and she picked the next person and pretended like I didn't pick the right number. So that was weird. And I don't know if it was just that she didn't see the number, but I mean, I don't know how she couldn't. So that was really, really weird. And nobody else even called her out, too. Like, nobody else even said, hey, that guy called that number that you first called. So, so that was really frustrating. And I was like, this is not good. That's definitely not a good sign. The last thing that I did with her was I just messaged around with her a little bit, and she said she was going to message me for an update and everything, and I just, She gave another weird piece of advice where she said that since I'm manifesting things with my writing, I need to light a white candle and state the intention that I don't want to manifest anything with my writing, to protect myself. Well, I did that. I did that in late December. I had this stupid candle that I had to light, and it was a pain in the fucking ass to do that, and to to light it and do this whole stupid thing where I'm like, I am intending this for entertainment purposes only, and then start writing and working. And it was really uncomfortable because it made me feel like there was a time limit or something. Like, it just made me feel so constrained and just restricted, and I hated it. I hated the feeling from doing that whole candle thing. Well, what do you know? Stuff that happened in the writing, some of it kind of happened a little bit anyway. So that was all kind of worthless. And as soon as I stopped doing that, I didn't notice any change whatsoever. So that was another complete bullshit thing. So I'm kind of in the middle with her. I kind of feel like maybe there is some stuff that she can pick up, but I think that it's only like 30%, and I feel like there's 70% that's just her pushing an agenda and overcompensating for stuff that she doesn't know. And you know, the way that she ended up treating me, you could see the frustration in that I wasn't like just buying into anything, and I was like, no, like, I'm going to press this issue, like, tell me the answer about what is going on. And then she'd ignore these questions. So I'm in the middle about her. Now the last one is a very famous YouTube famous person, and now this person is truly a weird individual. She did several videos about Sharon, and I drew this picture where I felt like it was predictive, and it was like telling me to contact her, and so I contacted her by purchasing a $290 reading for Sharon's birthday anniversary, 80th birthday anniversary. Well, I got there, and the day was already going terribly, because after I just got better from salmonella, which I had for like a week or more, I got salmonella again for a day. And it was so awful. It was like the worst. And I just kept having it over and over and over again. And I was like, am I going to be able to even do this reading? So I went outside and I got on the phone. And already something was kind of off, because I had put a note on the reading that I purchased. This reading is for me, Marco. And so, you know, I made sure, like, that's my name. Please call me that as my name. And she said the other name. She said another person's name. And so that was really hilarious. Like, wait a second. Didn't you read the note? Didn't you read the custom note that's attached to this reading that I purchased? So that was already kind of like, ugh. Now this reading, I would describe it as like an awkward, one-sided, just therapy session of hers. And there was a lot of stuff that she said that I felt like might be accurate, like a lot of things that she got that, you know, I don't know how she figured it out. You know, I don't know how I think it might have to do with astrology, because she is big into astrology, and she's very much into, oh, that type of person is that type of person. And, you know, she has everyone figured out already. And she's good in terms of, like, I don't know, like, she's good at being a bullshitter in terms of, oh, like, you're this type of person, you know. So there's something off, though. There's just something definitely off, because what she would do is she would make these vague statements. Like, she told me, the one thing that I'll say so far that has proven very much accurate is that she told me to wait to make a decision on who I cast in my film. And it was funny because the day that I was supposed to cast the person in my film, it was a disastrous day, and I ended up with like nobody to pick from. By the end of the day, everyone flaked out or quit and pretended like they never promised that they would do their audition. And so it was such a great decision to not cast on that day. And then I could use the excuse, well, my psychic told me, so I had to. She was right about a lot of other things too. Like, it was interesting too because her answers... Now, this is the weird part where you could even go into conspiracy territory. Like, she was given a script or something, because a lot of her answers aligned with the person who did the Golden Dawn tarot card reading. And of course, that person also wanted me, she had an agenda of me signing up for the Golden Dawn. So it was weird how their answers aligned in a lot of cases. And I thought at first, maybe that means she's credible. That means, you can believe what she says. But I don't know. It was pretty weird. And in a lot of places, too, it was so funny because, like, I was kind of flabbergasted because I expected it to be so different. I expected it to be, like, finally, the real, the truth and everything. And instead, I was like, okay. Like, I was just sitting there, like, silent. Like, I didn't even know what to say because she was saying these things, and I was just like, what? Like, at one point she said I needed to share my script with someone, I needed to share my script with someone who I was afraid of sharing it with because I thought they would steal it. And I thought, what? What? Like, who would that be? Like, I was like, what are you talking about? And I didn't even say anything, though. It was so awkward and hilarious because she got weirded out too, because she was so confident in the fact that, she thought that her bullshit would work. And then she, like, met somebody really authentic and who had real, like, issues to go through. And she was like, ooh. And she would pause herself and she would be like, she would just not say anything. And it was so funny. Like, I was so shocked by that, her behavior. And at one point, too, I was like, well, a way that I think that my writing has manifested is, there was this one day where I was writing about heartbreak, and then the next day, like, it was like a string of cartoonishly bad heartbreak hotel over here, and it was terrible. And she was like, and she immediately was like, oh, my guides are telling, or she was like, they're telling me that was going to happen anyway. Or, she was like that, though. She was like, maybe that was going to happen anyway. And it was like such like a bitchy remark. It was such a, it was like the most like, it was like she was roasting me or something. Like, she was like, I have a feeling that was going to happen anyway. And it's like, what the fuck? And so, like, I should not have gotten this reading, like, really. But then again, I really wanted some reading. So, then, and I will get to the only positive thing, I guess, two positive things at the end, but another thing is, now you guys your jaws are gonna drop. She said, or I said, my house was haunted, and so can you tell me about, like, the history of the house and, more details with that? And she was like, what makes you think your house was haunted? Like, you're the psychic person. You're the one who's supposed to be figuring that out. Like, you're the one who's supposed to be saying, like, oh, well, I'm getting the information that it was haunted and this and that. Like, no, she was just straight up like, what makes you think your house is haunted? Like, that was like, oh, that was like, I was almost ready to like end the session because I was like, and then she started interrupting me. So like, she would interrupt me and like, I would be like, whoa, well, this and this and this. And then she would jump to like a conclusion that wasn't accurate at all. And I would say like, oh, well, blah, 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 blah. And then she was like, oh, and I'd just be like, yeah. Because I was just like, okay, you're going to interrupt me and kind of like jump to these conclusions. Like, just let me, like, okay, maybe you are a fraud, but just let me, like, tell you the information I was going to tell you. And then you can continue. Okay, like, you don't have to interrupt me in order to seem like you're smart or like you are genuine, because you've already, like, you're past that point. And I didn't say any of that, but that was one of the, she did that like 10 to 12 times too, like this interruption thing where she would like say these stupid things that didn't make any sense or align with anything. But I did feel like from her reading that there were little pieces of truth. So I'm just not sure. She never specified like specifically. I get she was saying like she was getting into my energy and stuff like that, but other than that, she didn't really specify how she was getting the information spiritually. Usually when you do that, you first state, I am talking to this person. She claims she can channel people. She claims that she can do all that stuff, but really? I don't think so. The thing with, who I was in my past life, though, which I'm not going to say it in this video because you guys can just go look at the other one. I do think it's accurate because weeks before, I was already getting a ton of messages that was the case, and a ton of signs, a ton of signals, and so I was already under that belief, and that was my connection to her. It's just that I wanted a professional confirmation, so, I don't know. I don't know about her professional credentials. But finally, I started asking her about specific people, about romances with them, and she said that this one person was mad at me, and it didn't have anything to do with me. And I don't know, like, the stuff that she said about this person just didn't line up with them at all. So I was kind of like, eh. The one thing I'll say, though, is that she went like 10 minutes past the time limit. Like, her schedule is full. People book her up really fast, and she went 10 minutes past the time that she was originally supposed to end. And, she acted like it wasn't a big deal at all, and she was very nice and everything. And there was some stuff that I thought was true, but I was really disappointed, and I should have taken the signal in December about her, because when I purchased her reading, I finished that American Horror Story season, and of course at the end of that season, they had that whole episode with the fake psychic, and it was a warning. It was a warning that this psychic reading was going to be complete trash. So that was the end of that. And then I went to her page on YouTube, and I just was like, oh God, this was the person I got a reading from. And her live streams, she has the same agenda. She has a clear agenda in her videos, in her quote-unquote readings, where she basically repeats the same storylines over and over again. She always talks about these certain talking points using these certain buzzwords, and I could tell, like, this is bullshit, like. And then I saw that she was connected to Hollywood, and I saw that maybe she wanted to be an actress. She did. She said that in videos. And so I think she really wanted to be in Hollywood. She just never made it. And this whole psychic thing is just a front because of the fact that she's disappointed in them. And so she is like taking a lot of truth and then using it in like a really deceptive way, and then making a lot of bullshit up too. I mean, just saying a lot of stupid shit. I mean, and then she did this video where she started saying really creepy things, and she started to say like, why would you want to live on this earth? Like, I would be happy to die right now. And it was almost like she was programming her audience into like believing that the earth was bad and that life was bad, and it was really, really weird. And she was saying like, why would you want to live here when you can ascend to other dimensions and universes? And I thought like, God, this bitch is talking like a cult leader. Like, that's like what cults would talk like. So that's when I completely was like, okay, that wasn't accurate. So I am leaning towards the second person in a way. I feel like even though the second person still is mostly fake, I think that she has a bit of truth. But I can't say for sure. All I can say for sure is my connection to her, and that is the most real thing that you could probably say and confirm is true. So I would be really curious to see like which person, do you think that they're all fake, or do you think that one of them is true and one of them is fake? Because the third person, she never told me to buy anything else. She never told me to purchase any other readings. It was just, it was over when it was over. So, anyways, please like this video, comment, tell me what you think, and then please subscribe to our channel if you'd like to see more fun topic videos like this. Goodbye, everybody. See you soon.